morning, everyone. Good morning, Blessed Filipino Tutu. I hope you're doing well today. I am Edessa Yungot Yungot from Group 1, and our group is assigned three topics to discuss. And today, I'll be presenting my report on the human person flourishing in terms of science and technology. So, this topic is important because technology is everywhere in our lives. From the moment we wake up using alerts on our phones, the way we study, work, and even socialize. But the big question is, does technology really help us flourish as human beings? Does it really helps? So throughout these presentations, I'll explain the role of science and technology and in human life, the philosophical ideas behind them, and how we can use them to achieve through human flourishing. So our lesson has three objectives. First is to analyze how science and technology influence human flourishing. So this means looking not only at the positive contributions like better healthcare and education, but also the challenges like inequality and over-independence. Second is to appreciate the importance of using technology responsibly. Remember, technology is powerful. It can uplift humanity, but it can also be misused. So the last and the third is to explain how science and technology can be applied in our daily life to promote flourishing. So this reminds us that flourishing is not just about abstract ideas, but something practical that we can live every day. So by the end of this report, I hope you'll see science and technology not just as inventions, but as tools we can guide for the common good. Among all animals on Earth, humans have highest intellectual capacity. So unlike other creatures, we don't just adapt to our environment, we actively shaped it. For example, we learned how to produce fire not only for warmth, but also for cooking good. And we invented the wheel, which completely transformed to transportations. And we create writing systems and preserve knowledge across generations. So what's interesting is that many discoveries came through accidents or mistakes. For example, penicillin, a life-saving antibiotic, was discovered when a scientist accidentally left mold growing in a petri dish. So by the accident, nakaform siya og antibiotic. So this shows that our curiosity and creativity allows us to turn discoveries into innovations to benefit society. So science and technology are the results of human effort to make life better. Rules and purpose of the lesson. So explains briefly the attributes and capacity of man and his role in relation to technology and society. So begins with St. Augustine's ideas. Humans created by God with intellect and freedom. So this lesson isn't only scientific, it's also philosophical. According to St. Augustine, humans were created by God with two special gifts, intellectual and freedom. So journey toward God needs grace, guiding us to do and innovate for everyone's good. So these gifts allows us to think, reason, and choose, but they also come with responsibility. Augustine believed that with God's grace, we are guided to use our intellect not for selfish gain but for the good for everyone. So when we innovate, invent, and use technology, we should always ask, am I using this gift responsibly? I am helping others or only myself? So this highlights that technology is not neutral. It's part of our role as moral beings. Next is technology, means or more. Technology is often seen as a mean to an end, a tool that helps us achieve goals. A phone is just a tool to call or text, right? But if we look deeper, technology has become much more than just a tool. It shapes how we live, work, study, and even how we think. For instance, the invention of the internet didn't just make communication faster. It created a new culture instant of information, social media, and online learning. Since the mid-20th century, especially after World War II, technological progress has grown rapidly. Think about airplanes. computers, medical imaging, and satellites. This changed the course of human life in less than a century. The philosophical grounding Aristotle. So long before modern science, Aristotle studied nature and human life. He believed that knowledge begins with observation. So from observation comes technique. So which means skill or technique. Technique is about organizing what we learn to meet human needs. For example, observing how seeds grow led to agriculture, and observing the stars led to navigations. And that's how knowledge begins with observation comes to technique, that means skill or technique that organize what we learn to meet human needs. For Aristotle, technology is always mean to an end. It's not the ultimate goal, it is a tool to help us achieve better living conditions. So, this grounding reminds us that technology should serve humanity, not replace it. So, remember that. There are three main views of technology. First is the technological optimism. Second is the technological pessimism. And the third one is the Heidegger's perspective. So, technological optimism is the belief that technology solves human problems. For example, vaccines save millions of lives. Renewable energy can fight climate change, and online education makes learning accessible. So that is technological optimism. Next is the technological pessimism, the warning that technology creates new issues. Social media connects people but also leads to cyberbullying or misinformation. So the last one is the Heidegger's perspective. Technology is not just a tool, it reveals how we see the world. It shapes how we think about nature, society, and even ourselves. So this view shows that technology is complex. If it can be both empowering and dangerous, so depending on how we use it. For Heidegger, technology as revealing. So Heidegger emphasized that technology is a way of revealing. So take microscope for example. Before their invention, people didn't even know that bacteria exist. So microscope didn't just give us a closer look, but they revealed a new reality that bacteria existed. Another example is social media. It doesn't just help us communicate, but it changes how we define relationships, popularity, and even truth. Kaya halos tanan naman, di ba, ipang-post sa social media. So this means that technology is not passive. It actively shapes our worldview, our values, and our identity. That would be all for my part. I hope you learn a lot and thank you for listening.
Good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss the definition of human flourishing. So, human flourishing, it is when people live a happy and fulfilling life. It is about feeling good, doing well, and having positive relationships with others. So, there are three main parts to human flourishing. First, positive emotion. It is about feeling well and joyful and content. Second, psychological functioning. It is having good mental health, being able to think clearly, and making good choices. Third, social functioning. Having strong relationships with others, feeling connected, and contributing to the community. So, when people flourish, they achieve their goals and dreams are called self-actualization. They use their talents and abilities to make a positive impact and develop good character traits or virtues like kindness, empathy, and fairness. Lastly, they pursue their goals that are meaningful to them and feel fulfilled in their community. As human person, there are two types, bearer and beneficiary. In bearers, as humans, we are the creators, users, and shapers of technology. We design, build, and decide how to use it. In beneficiaries, at the same time, we receive the benefits and consequences of technology. It can make our lives easier, but it can also bring challenges. For example, think about social media. We create and use it as bearer, but it also affects our mental health and relationships as beneficiary. So what is reflective thinking on technology? Science and technology must be treated as part of life needing reflective thinking. Examine broader impact on humanity, not just efficiency or profit. So we know technology is a big part of our lives, but here's one thing. We need to think carefully about how we're using it. It's not just about making things faster or more efficient. We need to consider the bigger picture. So what does reflective thinking on technology mean? First, think about the impact. Before we adopt new technology, let's think about how it might affect the people and the planet. Second, it's not just about the profit. We shouldn't just focus on making money, but we need to consider what's good for humanity as a whole. Third, be mindful of our choices. Let's use technology in a way that benefits everyone, not just a few people. For example, social media can connect people, but it can also spread misinformation. When we see technology just as a tool, we might miss some big problems it can cause. The first problem is overdependence. We rely too much on technology and lose some control. Second, loss of agency. Technology can influence our choices without us realizing it. Third, environmental damage. Technology can harm the planet. Example, pollution or e-waste. Also, there are some ethical concerns. First, privacy. Our personal information might not be safe. Second, inequality. Not everyone has equal access to technology. And lastly, misuse of AI or artificial intelligence. AI can be used for harm if not designed carefully. Technology should support human well-being, and when creating or using technology, we should ask some questions like, does it respect people's dignity? Does it treat people with respect? And does it promote common good? Also, technology must be guided ethically. Why? Because technology should make our lives better, not worse. We need to guide it with ethics to ensure it's used in ways that benefit humanity. Let's proceed to integration with human life. First, flourishing is not separate from technology. It means technology is part of life. We can separate our lives from technology because it's already deeply connected. Second, we need balance. Use technology but not be dominated by it. It means balance is the key. We should use technology but not let it control us. Last, let technology serve human ends. It means technology serves us. Technology should be a tool to improve our lives, not the other way around. In conclusion, humans flourish when science and technology are used wisely. Also, they should reveal truth, enhance virtue, respect dignity, and promote the common good. Lastly, stay reflective, ethical, and centered on meaning.